Holy shit!
What happened?
That one Scottish resistance trap murdered like 3 people. Hello guys, I'm the GamerRaider10 and welcome back to more Team Fortress 2. In the last episode, we looked at the hottest class in the game, the Pyro. In this episode, we're looking at a class that's pretty unique in the realm of FPS games, which is to say, this class is completely devoid of hitscan weapons, as in those with bullets, and focuses completely on projectiles. This is the Demoman.
If I were a bad Demoman, I wouldn't be sitting here discussing it with you now, would I?
Demo may turn a few people off at first. There's a whole bunch of things you need to take in. You need to factor in projectiles, detonation times, when and where to place sticky bombs, timing sticky bombs to blow up the most players. There's a bunch of mental factors that go into playing Demoman. I implore you, however, please take some time and hear me out. This class is fun. Just like Pyro, Demoman sports 175 HP. Makes enough sense when you consider that just like Soldier, Demo's explosives hurt him as much as they do his enemies. So if he was a light class like Scout or Sniper with 125 HP, he'd be dying a lot. His walking speed is also slightly slower than average, 93% walking speed. And that's about it. Demo's a pretty simple class compared to Pyro. Demo's design is meant to be bulky enough to survive multiple explosions, but slow enough such that he can hunker down and defend various objectives. And if you know what you're doing as Demo, he can be almost as much of a ruthless defender as Engineer can. Payload cards, vital choke points, intelligence briefcases, when it comes to defending, Demo is a very solid pick. Let's look at his primary weapon, the grenade launcher. The grenade launcher is similar in design to the rocket launcher. It fires 4 projectiles that travel fast and deal 100 damage when they hit an enemy directly. The main differences between them are range and mechanics. In terms of range, grenades don't have quite as much of a reach as rockets do. But not only do they not suffer from damage fall off, they also arc, allowing Demo to get some cheeky kills that a soldier wouldn't be able to from unexpected angles or even from out of sight. However, it's important to also bear in mind that grenades, assuming they don't hit an enemy mid-flight, have a timer, so you can't just blast up away from danger as easily. You can still do it with grenades and it can save you in a few situations, but their unpredictable nature makes this method mostly unreliable. Still, it's a great weapon and is a ton of fun when you get it down. What you can reliably blast jump with is Demo's secondary weapon, the sticky bomb launcher. Strap in, we're in for the long haul. Just like with the grenade launcher, the sticky bomb launcher's bombs are arcing projectiles. However, you can have up to 8 sticky bombs on the field at any one time. As her name suggests, they can stick to almost any surface, except for players, as funny as that would be, and moving surfaces, like doors, turntables, payload carts, etc. You can charge the sticky bomb launcher by holding down mouse 1, which can enable sticky bombs to fly farther and do more damage, at the cost of having a 5-second charge for maximum damage and distance. Perhaps the best stat, you can detonate sticky bombs whenever you want after they arm themselves, which takes just over half a second. Demo lives and dies by his sticky bomb launcher. This weapon's main design philosophy is based around defense. With the sticky launcher, Demo is meant to more or less serve the same purpose as Engineer, that being locking down certain objectives and choke points. With a well-placed sticky trap, Demo can single-handedly prevent the enemy team from even crossing certain areas, meaning, for example, only one person needs to watch this choke point on the flank, while 11 other people watch the main choke point. Demo doesn't even have to be looking at his traps. Demo's on the front lines while Gibbous Vision Spy tries to take the intelligence. Bam! Now the Spy is nothing more than chunky red paste. Now, if you want to play Demo offensively, the sticky launcher can actually be effective on the front lines. Seriously. Demo can use it as a replacement to the grenade launcher, just without rolling grenades, rollers if you will. In the community, this is called sticky spam. Basically, if you fire a sticky bomb and hold mouse 2, it'll detonate as soon as it's armed. Stickies can't do 100 damage direct hits on enemies, but considering the explosions do a lot of damage up close to begin with, who cares? You can be really oppressive given the clip size of the sticky launcher is double that of the grenade launcher. One thing to bear in mind though, is that because stickies take time to arm, you can be pretty vulnerable to being rushed down. You need to think ahead of your enemy when using this thing, defensively or offensively. My friends, I can at last say, Demo's melee weapon, the bottle, is actually a useful stock melee weapon.
All my life, leading up to this moment,
has been worth it. Every last second. I am truly blessed.
The bottle is identical in stats to the shovel and fire axe, and really all melees are except for scouts, but the bottle actually serves a great purpose. One weakness of Demoman is that all of his weapons are projectile weapons, meaning you have to account for leading your shots as well as the arcs of said projectiles. Another weakness is that Demo is pretty vulnerable in close range, not only because projectiles, but also because his explosions hurt him just like Soldier, or Pyro if you've air blasted explosives. The bottle gives Demo some actual close range viability. Assuming you're having a good day with this game's infamous hit registration, this does reliable good damage and you don't even have to worry about your own explosives blowing you up. Nice! Now, ironically, Demo actually has quite an in-depth melee system, which we'll talk a bit more about later. So that's Demo's stock weapons. Demo is an absolute powerhouse in almost any situation. Yeah, he's a class built around defense, but if you ask me, Demo is just like Pyro. He's a mixed bag and very flexible, able to toe the line on both ends of the offense-defense spectrum. Going over Demo's offensive capabilities, I'll tell you outright, any class that can do 100 or more damage in one shot is going to be welcome in any mid-fight. Demo's high damage output makes him an effective pusher as long as you can aim, and even if your pipes or stickies don't kill anyone hit by your bombs will be much easier for your teammates to finish off. Another cool thing is that your regular pipe bombs can roll, and while their damage output isn't spectacular, they can still finish a fight when they explode. Your sticky bombs can also act offensively. Sticky spam is just really good, being very oppressive with such a large clip. It's good for clearing a push out so you and your own team can counter and win the mid-fight. Of course, Demo is also a defensive titan, and like the engineer, he specializes in area denial. Demo sticky bombs, when used effectively, can completely lock down a choke point, especially with the Scotch resistance, which we'll get into later, making it so the enemy team can only push through the choke point being watched by the rest of Demo's team. Really consider that packing all those 100 damage explosives into one area means that any flank route or choke point can end your life in one click, even if you're a fully overhealed heavy. Thus, assuming the enemy team is known to have a Demoman, like with Pyro, you need to treat any corner or choke point like there's a Demoman right around it with a sticky trap placed just out of view. A sticky trap can trump any numbers advantage too. The explosions don't care about how many people are in their radius, just if there are people there to begin with. As such, everyone in a push going into a sticky trap can more than easily turn into red goo if they're not careful. That said, a Demoman can fall into tunnel vision if he's paying too much attention to his sticky trap, so if he's giving you a really hard time, try sending a spy, a short circuit engineer, or try faking out the Demoman. So that's stock Demoman in a nutshell. Being a class of only projectiles can be a bit tricky to get used to if you've just been used to shooting regular bullet guns or other hit scan weapons at your foes, but the sheer power of a good Demoman is nothing to sneeze at. Now, stock Demoman is great and all, but let's get into his unlockable weapons, because they're a lot of fun and really sell Demoman as a class to me. Let's start with the Iron Bomber. This one's kinda weird. It's basically a love child between the grenade launcher and sticky bomb launcher. The grenades here have a shorter fuse time before they go off, so you're more effective at mid-range. They do have a slightly smaller explosion radius though, so bear that in mind. Now, this thing starts to become an amalgamation of Demo's primary and secondary as such. Unlike the grenade launcher, the Iron Bomber's grenades have very little bounce and roll to them, so they're a bit more predictable, which, yes, makes grenade jumping a lot easier, but an enemy can nullify the grenades by just walking away. You might be thinking, can't they do that to regular grenades? Well, yes, but it's hard to really gauge where stock grenades will bounce and roll to, which can catch enemies off guard, such as when they're retreating. Oh, don't mistake this advice from me downplaying this weapon. It's a perfectly reasonable side grade to stock. The lock and load it's kind of like the direct hit on Soldier, but as a grenade launcher. It fires faster projectiles, is complete murder on engineer buildings, and suffers from a lack of splash damage, kinda. See, the lock and load's grenades will only detonate when hitting players or buildings, and as such, this weapon demands you hit your enemies with direct grenades. Bear in mind that not only are its clip size and explosion radius both gimped by 25%, but its faster projectiles can actually mess with your muscle memory if you're used to the other launchers. With all that said, because grenades don't suffer from damage fall off when hitting enemies, it actually gives Demo some long-range versatility since the fuse time in the grenades is the longest of all Demo's primaries. So unless you're playing on PLR Higher Tower, which isn't an official map by the way, you can be sure that your grenades won't explode prematurely. as long as you can hit your targets. The loose cannon though. Oh boy, this thing is fun! Now, objectively, this thing is Demo's worst primary. It plays completely different than his other primaries. The cannonballs don't explode on impact, and the cannonball's impact pushing players away can place enemies out of Demo's effective range. And just like the lock and load, the projectile speed can hurt your muscle memory if you aren't used to it. But the best attribute of the loose cannon is that you can control when your cannonballs explode. Their fuse time is a solid 1 second after you press down mouse 1, so you have to bear in mind that they can explode inside the loose cannon itself and hurt Demo for quite a bit, which can be a good thing by the way. Seriously, why does Demo not have a market gardener? But if you hit a player with a cannonball that explodes within about a half second after hitting the player, you are rewarded with a double donk. Double donks not only make a really satisfying sound, but the explosion now counts as a mini crit while sending enemies flying straight to Glasgow. Words cannot express how fun this mechanic is, and it can delete even a medic at full health, or even donk several enemies at once. Is it gimmicky? Yes. Is it hard to master? Yes. Is it one of Demo's most fun gimmicks? Abso-frickin-lutely. The base jumper is great for turning Demoman into a carpet bomber with his stickies. You only get to deploy your parachute once per jump, but it's pretty fun to terrorize snipers with your sticky launcher of choice. Just don't do it when they're already looking at you and know you're coming, because you're just kinda a free headshot or body shot then. What's a Demoman without his trusty secondary? The Quickie Bomb launcher has half the clip size of the stock sticky launcher to be essentially the sticky launcher on fast forward. For one, the Quickie launcher is able to destroy enemy sticky bombs. Its bombs are in 0.2 seconds faster than the sticky launchers. Its max charge time is 70% faster, enabling you to become an explosive sniper with your sticky bombs, and you get up to 35% more damage based on your charge. Is that sniper over on the enemy battlements giving you a hard time? With a Quickie Bomb launcher, not anymore. Is that sentry in the distance blocking your team from crossing into the enemy base? With a Quickie Bomb launcher, what sentry? You do have to bear in mind though that its damage is slightly nerfed, 15% damage penalty. This thing doesn't turn Demo into a steamroller, but it does help with long range support. The Scottish friggin' resistance. So remember how I said Demo is a defensive titan? The Scottish resistance is my personal favorite Demo secondary for this reason. It basically turns one Demo into multiple Demos watching a choke point while working in tandem. You get faster firing speed, more secondary ammo to compensate for an additional 6 extra sticky bombs to have out, is able to destroy enemy stickies, and the creme de la creme, you can control which sticky traps to blow up, thus ensuring that all of your stickies can get work done. When you detonate with the stock sticky launcher, all your stickies blow up simultaneously, so while the 3 you used for one trap all killed that one guy, the other 5 just kinda go to waste. The Scottish resistance ensures you get more bang for your sticky bucks, since the only ones you're looking at, or standing on, you need to remember that or else die an embarrassing death because you forgot they were there, will explode. When using the Scottish resistance, bear it in mind. You need to use this thing to watch one choke rather than multiple different chokes. You should only pay attention to one choke at a time to make impregnable while detonating your traps one by one. Also, this thing's stickies arm more than twice as slowly as stocks, so you can be pretty vulnerable to getting rushed down and can't sticky spam as easily. Quick mention to the sticky jumper. It's basically the rocket jumper buff for Demo. It's really useful for traversing the map in an instant and quickly getting into the fight while ensuring that you still have a high damaging explosive primary weapon. Also, know that this thing only allows 2 stickies out at a time, since that's about the most Demo can survive on any other sticky launcher anyway. Demo's melees? Strap in. To start, the Ulapul Caber. It's kinda not great. It swings slower and deploys slower, does pretty good damage when the explosion registers. It can only be restored at a resupply locker. In the hands of a Demo Knight, it's potentially scary, but this thing's kind of a joke. Still, dropping someone out of nowhere in a fight, but not to open up a fight, is pretty funny. Overall, the Caber's a mean weapon because it's just mediocre. The paint trinket gets a special mention, but its role on Demo is about the same on Soldier, so I'm not going to go over it again here. It's better on Demoman since, Demo's melee is good. Now, are you ready for Demo Knight? Demo Knight is the subclass of subclasses. By ditching your 2 launchers and donning some boots, a shield, and grabbing a sword, you turn Demoman into a full-on melee specialist. I may go over this subclass in greater detail in a bonus episode, but I'll quickly cover each of his weapons here. The Eyelander. You lose some max health to start, but sequential kills with it not only boost your max health to a maximum of 210 or 235 depending on your primary, you also get faster and faster with each enemy you kill with the sword, represented as your heads count, up to 4 enemies decapitated. And Nessie's 9 iron is the same if you want to be a more modern looking Demoman. The Half Zatoichi. Soldier can also wield this, but it has more utility on demo, hence why I'm going over it here. Ridiculous on a pure demo knight since he never has to put the Zatoichi away and lose health without getting a kill because he has his melee out at all times anyway. The overheal this thing can give a demo knight can turn him into a tank if he's really good with it, and it can one-shot enemies who also have the Zatoichi out. The Claymore. Yes, that's how it's pronounced. It's Scottish Gaelic for Claymore. You're slightly squishier, but your shield charges are longer by a half second. Melee kills give you back a quarter of your charge. This thing is viable on a regular Demoman due to it, like the rest of Demo's swords, having an extended range. The Persian Persuader makes your primary and secondary launchers more of a last resort option, but it's great on pure Demo Knight since its hits refill 20% of your charge meter. As well, ammo boxes can also recharge your charge meter, and this all allows Demo to be a terror with both his shield and his sword. The Scotsman Skull Cutter. You move a bit slower, but you do 20% more damage than the stock bottle. It can also random crit for some unfathomable reason, but it's viable on a regular Demoman due to the extra damage. We're saving the shields for this segment. Each shield gives you resistance to fire and explosives and allows you to charge and deal damage to enemies on impact and do additional damage at the end of a charge. A full crit for the charge and splendid screen, and a mini crit for the tie turner. In short, if you want raw defense, use the charge and charge. If you're looking to deal more damage to enemies with your bash, use the splendid screen. If you want more control over your charge and smack an enemy around a corner to literally go flying by using what's called the trimp, use the tie turner. For primary replacements, the Alibaba's Wee Booties and Bootlegger are identical to each other, so they give an additional 25 max health by default, increased turning control while charging, not enough to make really sharp turns, just a heads up, slightly faster moving speed if you have a shield equipped, and melee kills while wearing these give back a quarter of your charge. Bear in mind through all of this that Demo Knight is a melee specialist in a game where everyone has a gun or explosive launcher or whatever. So if it's just not working that well but you still want to be a monster with a melee weapon, it's perfectly viable to become a hybrid knight. You ditch the boots for your grenade launcher. You lose a little max health, you're not very good at overall defense anymore, which is to say locking down choke points, and snipers are now more scary, assuming you're using the Eyelander. But you retain your resistances to fire and explosions while staying a powerhouse in pure offense. And that, my friends, was Demoman. Some people might not want to walk the walk of the ultimate area denial machine who only uses projectiles to get stuff done, and that's perfectly fine. This class is hard to master for a reason. But if you're willing to take the plunge and dive right into learning projectiles, explosives, sticky jumpings, just whatever, give the rare endangered Black Sky Cyclops a try. The best way to play Demoman is the way you find most fun. You're strong and independent, unlike Scotland in our world. You know who else is strong and independent? The face of TF2, a big man from the Union of Soviet Socialist Republics. Next time on Let's Play Team Fortress 2, we're going to be taking a look at the Heavy Weapons Guy, better known as the Heavy. Until next we meet, go out and carpet bomb those snipers and engineers, and deny a scout from grabbing the intel, and tell them to subscribe to the Gamerator 10. Well, I got one of the snipers at least. And that's the real victory. I don't think that's... Yeah, I thought so.
Oh, you got another guy.
Oh, shit!
Can I join you when I
I'm
finish
just gonna rain artillery all to the point and just pray it works. And it is in fact working.
There's two sides to fighting in TF2. This is working and I don't know why, and this is not working and I don't know why. And I just jumped in and bombed a sniper with a crit pipe, so
Oh shit.
You know.
40 minutes.
Oh my
that's
god.
heavy.
I'm not making it.
Why do you have the boom boxers?
Wait,
Turn around.
why don't you?
I was
Honestly, the fact that the Iron
there
Bomber's
is, in fact,
projectile
still a
size...
we're heavy on the point.
The fact that the Iron Bomber's projectile size got fixed, that honestly gives me hope that weapons can be rebalanced in the future.
Now we're just waiting for the bison.
I'm just waiting for the Scorch Shot to get
Dear
nerfed.
God, the bison.
Yeah, this is...
They're
Yeah, this
actively
choke
trying
point
to
is
score.
one of the worst in the game, in my opinion. Like, this is an actively hostile choke point. Like, if I was
So much.
redesigning Dust Bowl, I would make it so that way you couldn't... So that way red team...
Spawn doors are those two little doors.
Right, yeah, just make it so that red team can't go into this little trench. Bob is just an engineer with a Macho Man.
And I do. Macho Man, Randy Savage.
Can't rocket jump in Nebraska. Buddy, I'm from Detroit. And as we know, you can't have shit in Detroit.
This much is true.
What? How did that even... Okay. I got a neck gain out of that. Shut up. The sentry went down.
Damn, I missed him.